Welcome to Adulting Without Supervision, where today we're going to look at replacing the blade motor for the Robomow RS 622. So everything started off with the mower wouldn't automatically dispatch from the base. And when we tried to look at it to see what was going on, I tried to use the app to go ahead and send it off. It kept saying it was at 98% charge. And the only time that I could get it to actually start going was to reverse it away from the base using the app, and even then it only worked for about 10 minutes. I even went as far as to have it start up and barely lift it under to see that both blade motors were going. So I was a little confused. I was like, well, it can't be the motor, and it kept giving me messages on the app, and when I tried to start it from just the machine, it gave me these messages. And I know for a fact if there's no electricity running through the base, then it won't start the motor blades at all, because that boundary wire has to have power running through it. So I did the normal procedure of turning the motor off, which is flip the switch and taking the fuse out. After flipping it over and removing the blade, I saw that the motor was missing 4 screws that connected it to the plastic mount that holds it to the floating platform. After putting new screws in and it still was coming up with the same messages, it was time to take it apart and see if there was anything else that I could do. After pulling off the adjustment knob, you're just going to go ahead and pull these 2 clips in the front to pop it loose, and then there's 2 clips in the back that you're going to have to pull away from a metal rod that it uses to hold it in place. And yes, for some reason it seems like one side is always harder to get apart than the other. So after fighting to get the shell off, we're going to go ahead and remove this rubber cover and check the wires and the connections. So after discovering this, I thought, let's put some electrical tape on it, and maybe, just maybe, I won't have to do much more and just order the wire in. Just gonna pop the case back on and take it outside and see what happens. Well, I knew it couldn't be that easy, unfortunately. I'm guessing that the wires are getting just enough connection that as the platform moves up and down, it's acting like it's there, and then it's cutting out there and cutting out. So unfortunately, those wires being slightly stripped is causing this issue. Okay, so I ended up having to call customer service, which in the US is MTD. The first guy, unfortunately, was not really that great. Don't get me wrong, not rude or anything like that, just not knowledgeable enough to know what's going on. He just sent me through and factory resetting it. And the call got cut off, so I didn't really get anywhere with him. The second guy that I ended up getting was really great, believe it or not. And he ended up double checking to see what the last guy had already done. And in his notes, he put it as the wheel motor, not the blade motor. So I'm really glad this guy was a little bit more thorough and double checked the first guy's notes. And this guy thankfully wasn't playing around. He went ahead and he's like, I know you're out of warranty, but it's so close and this never should have happened with these screws popping out that we're going to go ahead and send you a new motor. And I told him, I said that it was just the wires at the time. I didn't even know it was the motor too, that the motor wire at the time that was frayed, and he went ahead and sent the wire as well. So, I mean, all around, this one guy at the very least was great customer service. Hopefully the other guys, I know that this has been a common problem that with customer service, they get their stuff together a little bit, but this one guy at the very least was great. Since they're out of stock a lot of the time, I wanted to make sure I had a backup, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you what the wire code looks like. I went ahead and cut the ends off below the damage. Then all you have to do is splice them together. The only wire that's missing off of there was the little blue wire that came off the motor, and it just went on that bottom right corner. So after taking the shell off for the second time, we're just going to go ahead and pop these side bars that are holding the screen in place so we can get down to the motherboard. Now, in order to get any further, we have to actually remove the ribbon from the motherboard for the screen. And believe it or not, it's pretty simple. All we have to do is just pop the little 2 tabs on the sides and it pops right out. Now that that's out of the way, there is a white rubber seal on the side that keeps anything from getting near the motherboard. We're going to go ahead and remove that and get to the wire where it's basically pushed in. It's not clipped in or anything like that. We're just going to pull it away a little bit, and then we go back to the motherboard and we're going to unclip the wire from the motherboard. And I thought the easiest way to do this was to go in and, as I'm removing the old wire, put in the new wire at the same time, just to kind of make it dummy proof. Just going to disconnect the motor and go back through and remove those clips a second time because I hooked in the old wire with the new wire because I'm an idiot. All right, let's do this again. Remove the blade. Remove the blade motor mount, and then finally remove the motor. Here's the motor information in case you need it to order a new motor for yourself. So we're going to clip that motor in, we're going to secure that mount, and before we put the blade back on, I'm going to take it outside and make sure it actually works. We're going to go ahead and clip that ribbon for the screen display back in. I didn't say it before, but I'm going to go and make sure I say it now. Make sure you're supporting that motherboard while you're putting any kind of pressure on it. You don't want it to break in any way, shape, or form. That'd be some real trouble. So we're done with our tests. The motors worked. No error codes came up. We're going to go ahead and put the shell back on and grease the motor so that way we can put the blade on and not break our tool every time it's time to change the blades. Well, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys have found this helpful at all, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to us. If you have any other videos that you'd like us to do, let us know. Leave us questions in the comments if you guys want some answers. We had one about the last video about customer service. I hoped I addressed that a little bit here. So we'll see you guys next time.